Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Kids Church on the St Martin's YouTube channel. This is Amber, our dog. She really wanted to be in the clip. Say hi. Well, we've been looking at the book of Mark, and last week we heard the story about where Jesus feeds 5,000 men plus their families. So this week we're going to hear about what happened straight after that. Now, this story is in Mark chapter 6, but for this week, we're going to hear how Matthew tells this story. And you can find it in Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 to 33. So, after feeding all those people, Jesus told the disciples to get into the boat and go over to the other side of the lake. And he was going to meet them there later. But then, Jesus went to a mountainside to pray, because he just loved talking to his Father in heaven. In fact, he prayed for most of the night. Now, the disciples, they were in the boat, but they couldn't get across to the other side of the lake because it had become really windy and the waves now were extremely big. Now, they were probably thinking that Jesus was already on the other side of the lake waiting for them, probably wondering where they were. So the disciples, they were probably a little bit scared because of the wind and the waves. But then they got really scared. You know why, Amber? Well, they looked out at the water and there was this figure walking towards them. A figure walking on the water. Now, it was still pretty dark because this was happening just before sunrise. Now, the disciples, they were terrified and they cried out, "Oh, it's a ghost! It's a ghost, Amber!" But it wasn't a ghost. It was Jesus. And he was just taking a shortcut across the water to get to the boat. So Jesus says, "Relax, guys. It's me, Jesus. Don't be afraid." Well, the disciples weren't so sure. Well, all of them, that is, except Peter, because Peter says, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." So Jesus says, "Sure, jump in." Oh, the other disciples were probably thinking, "Are you crazy?" See, most of them were fishermen, so they knew how dangerous storms were on that lake. But Peter does hop out of the boat and he starts walking towards Jesus. The disciples are even more amazed because now Peter was walking on the water too. But then he takes his eyes off Jesus and gets distracted by the wind and the waves, and he starts to sink into the water and he cries out, "Save me, Jesus!" So Jesus reaches out his hand, pulls Peter up out of the water, and he says to Peter, "Peter, where was your faith? Why didn't you trust me?" And then Jesus and Peter got back into the boat, and as soon as they did, you know what happened? The wind completely stopped. Once again, the disciples were totally amazed. When they had stopped shaking, they bowed down to Jesus and said, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Yep, the disciples had finally worked it out. Boys and girls, isn't it great that Jesus is so powerful that he can feed thousands of people, calm a storm, and even walk on water? But sometimes, just like Peter, we get distracted by other things and take our eyes off him and forget to trust him. Well, luckily for us, Jesus is always there to grab us by the hand and save us, no matter what. Why? That's because we can always trust in him. Well, I hope you liked today's story and enjoy the activities I've organised for you this week. And make sure you're watching next week because I have got something really exciting to tell you. Okay? Well, have a great week and I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Say bye, Amber. Bye.